What's up, everybody? It's Brandon from Box Office Banner, Cult Flick Symposium. I'm back, of course, with another review, and I just saw Saw X. That's right, Saw 10. And this is the slept on it edition, because, like, I don't even have pants on right now. I'm in my underwear. If only this was, like, my real job, I could finally achieve, go to work with no pants status. So if y'all could help me out with that. No, I at least threw a shirt on for you guys, that's something. But I actually slept on it because I was sitting there trying to not really tamper my expectations on this movie, but the fact that I will come out and say this was better than a lot of the Saw movies in this franchise. But how much better was it? Like, I left the theater and I wondered, because I did hear, as much as I didn't know about this movie, I didn't watch a single trailer, but I had heard that from numerous people that, hey, it's back on track. It's back on track. Oh my God, best since the original. And I left the theater kind of thinking on the same wavelength. But I also was like, are we just prisoner of the moment right now? Is it really that great? Are we just fucking like, just used to the shit fest that the Saw movies have become? So I wanted to sleep on it a little bit. And I gotta say, my feelings are pretty much the same. I do think my score dipped by zero point 0.2 points. That's not 2 points, but zero point 0.2 points. But it's nothing bad. Like, it still was the same enjoyable movie I saw last night. But the thing is, too, though, I am sitting here just like I think, caught up in a little bit of that high. Now, this is coming from somebody who is not a big fan of the Saw franchise in general. I really, really enjoy the first one. The first one, I think, is a great horror movie. Every other movie since then, not great to me, really. I mean, there's a few in between. I'll say I like half of the Saw movies now. Like 5 of them, throw them out. Other 5, I can watch them. But the first one is the only one where I'm like, damn. Like, I remember going to the theater. I remember the actual shock of the twist, where it didn't feel like they were trying so hard to make twist on top of twist on top of twist. Like, it became like that was the game. That was the game we were playing. Like, it almost felt forced. Every time I saw a new Saw movie, it was like, we gotta see this fucking twist play out. How's this twist gonna go? And then, oh, there's a twist on top of a twist. Whereas the first one, it felt authentic. It became a little bit of a grind, I think, as the movies went on. Also, a big gripe for a lot of people, the editing style of these movies, all that's kind of gone here. It feels like a fresh take. It feels new. And we're following around Tobin Bell. Well, who would have thought, man? Really? We're following around Mr. Kramer? Like this? What? Why have we not done this before? Like, I don't understand why it took getting all the way to Saw X to have the thought of centering the movie around him. Now, he's a big part in a lot of the movies, obviously. This is his game, pun intended, not also pun intended, whatever you want to take it. But he's never been the focal point. It's always who he's setting up, and they got to go through a series of traps, which is fun. But at a certain point, you think they'd be like, let's go through what the main villain is going through. Let's see it from his point of view, not just like in a flashback, but for the entirety of the movie where it is just focused and centered around him. And it was a nice change of pace. I really enjoyed it. In doing so, watching the build-up, obviously we know about his brain cancer and all that from previous movies. Honestly, I'm going to come out and just say, I don't know where this fits in the timeline. Like I said, I try to go in as blind as possible. And that, like, for all I know, they might be doing like a Halloween thing where they're erasing the story. They've done that, and now they're doing that with a bunch of different movies. But it did feel like there was definitely canon in there. So, I mean, it's obviously not just like some crazy off-the-wall one-off. But if y'all know where this takes place in the story, let me know. Because, I was kind of gauging where it was at. And me and Josh from Box Office Banner were talking about it too, and we were, putting our own little thinking cap on for that because he also did not know. But the whole story of that goes on in the beginning, it really sets you up the route for John Kramer. Like, you're watching this and you're just like, oh yeah, I want to see this motherfucker inflict some damage. I think he's already kind of a sympathetic villain. We saw him in past movies, even with the Amanda character being like, no, you have to give him a chance. Like, you have to give him a chance for redemption. Everybody deserves a chance. there's at least something there to where you can at least, there's even been detectives saying like, oh yeah, is that the fucked up shit you want to believe, that you're giving these people a chance, that you can play God? You're nothing but a piece of shit scumbag. And you know what? Fine. You want to say that? I got you. But there's at least something to read into with John Kramer as a character, to where he's not just a flat out sadistic prick. He does give you a chance, no matter how sadistic that chance can be. So seeing us be able to go full on into, the throes of what John Kramer is, and live out day by day throughout this movie who he is as a person, also while knowing the nostalgia of the character, was really fucking fun. And once the shit gets flipped on its head with the inevitable twist, and you got to go through this shit with John Kramer, you're rooting for him and these traps more than ever, which again is a fun change of pace. Even if you're doing it prior, you will definitely be doing it a little more in this movie. The plot in general, nothing spectacular, but it made me care about everything that much more. Like, once we did get to the traps, I don't want to say they're more gory, but they felt more gritty and fucked up because we cared about what was going on. Not even necessarily caring about the characters per se in the traps, but because we were so involved in the story and what was going on with John Kramer, we were like, oh shit, it's going down. It felt earned. It felt more warranted. The movie just felt better put together and less convoluted and more just on a straight line. We don't always have to go in and out. And I feel like Saw, more than anything, and really more than a lot of franchises, felt the pressure to do that from its predecessors. And it got more and more wacky and more weird and more over the top. It was refreshing to see them go back to a more bare bones, let's flip it on its head and not overthink things, but how about underthink things for a change? Like, hey, what if we just did a full movie on John Kramer Jigsaw and just fleshed out a story and just went with it? And yes, we can still have our twists and turns, but it doesn't have to be this insane thinking piece along the way in a movie that really doesn't need that type of thing. The new Saw movie, character solid, the villain, amongst John Kramer, but also the other, negatives. Because obviously in a Saw movie, a lot of times the people who are dying are pieces of shit. That's why they end up in these traps, anyways. These people, John Kramer, everybody does a fucking good job in this movie. It's really fun to see certain old faces, and it's a good, fresh, you know what? Let's not overthink it. Fucking entry in the franchise. And what are we, X number 10? How many good 10th entries are in franchises? I mean, come on, man. Look, Jason, he's in fucking space at this point. They did the right thing here. It felt fresh. It felt new. It felt like the franchise was reinvigorated, and even had a touch of heart a little bit along the way in certain spots. It might just surprise you, and if you've heard murmurs from other people about this being damn good and one of the best in the franchise, I'm here to tell you I think they are right. Is it amazing, though? Are we going to get caught up? Like, Saw's back? I don't know about that. But I can say pretty much definitively now that this is definitely top tier, upper echelon Saw carnage. You should like this movie if this is your type of thing. Not as in saying, you should like this, but I could venture to say you would probably like this movie. Yeah, this is a fun-ass time. I'm going to give it the great score. 8 out of 10, just barely. I was at an 8.2, but I wanted to go lower, honestly, but the more I thought back on it, when I did another assessment, I'm like, man, it had everything. It had everything I want. It felt fresh, felt new, surprised me because of what I thought it was going to be. And then the traps, it wasn't about the blood, it wasn't about the guts. The more invested, keyword invested, I was in the traps. One last thing I will say, I don't know about you, but I saw every twist coming until like the very final one. That one was kind of like, okay, I like how they fucking did that. The whole, when the music kicks in, the dun 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 dun, and it's like playing like old scenes and shit. That little part was like, okay, that's fun, that's cool. I had a feeling they were gonna do something like this, but I didn't pinpoint exactly what it was. Everything else, though, I caught on to. But still, this movie, definitely worthy of your time. Check out Saw X. You might just be surprised. I know a lot of people are done with the franchise, but this one's at least worth watching. People ain't lying, people. Go check it out. Love you guys. Hopefully I can go and get to the cinema soon to see the creator. Let me know what y'all thought of it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Blah, 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 whatever. Like, share, subscribe. Main thing, always comment. Let me know what the fuck's up, people. Love talking to you guys. I will be back soon. Hopefully with the creator, but if not, something else. I'll get up on here. Love you guys. Peace.